I watched that video back that I just made, and I realized that there was quite a lot of other things that I could have made about this story that he told. It's a story to try and prove that that men are the capable ones who run society, and women are basically useless. That's what the story is kind of about.
Hold to be useful to society in the first place. Did you hear about the Iceland strike? No, bro. So Iceland, which I would probably argue, don't ban me from Iceland, the government. I'm just talking. Chill. I haven't even been yet. I mean, they're going to ban me. They're going to end up saying, who's not allowed here? I'm sure it's very nice. Iceland, which I would argue, is probably going to be one of the most liberal countries in the world.
Okay, so he admitted that he's never actually been there. You know, it's probably he doesn't know, doesn't want to be banned from the country, but has no clue what he's saying. But he's happy to just promote whatever he wants because it's an agenda that he's pushing.
I'd argue. I'd also argue that women are treated pretty fairly in Iceland. I'd argue. I mean, it's not Pakistan or something.
Just because a country doesn't force women to wear clothes, like black clothes, and cover their face and stuff like that, just because it's not that doesn't mean that it's therefore treated fairly. It just means that that women in that country are treated better. Just because something is treated better, that doesn't mean that the people in this country are happy with how they are treated. I don't know. I'm not saying that they are being treated a certain way because I've never been there, so it's not for me to say. It's just I'm commenting on what this guy is saying. This guy is making comments about something he knows nothing about, and he thinks that there's absolutely nothing wrong with just saying his views because he's a man, and I think he's a very arrogant man, which is what he's proving. He's a very arrogant man who has very strong beliefs, and he thinks that because something is better than somewhere else, it therefore justifies the treatment that they feel that is unfair, but that he's just saying that there's other places in the world that are even worse, and therefore they shouldn't complain. So it's like saying that man gives his wife dog food, and then this man gives his wife rice, but because that woman is getting rice, not dog food, she shouldn't complain because it's a lot better than what this other man is treating it. That's almost kind of like what he's saying there. Just because something's better, that doesn't mean that it's right or equal.
So all the women in Iceland decide to go on a strike because they don't get paid enough. In Iceland, where I'm sure they're paid the same as men.
But you don't know, you're just saying allegations.
So 100,000 women went on strike, which is a third of the population of the country, for 4 whole days. And they went on this strike to prove, I think even the Prime Minister, bro, they're definitely going to ban me. The Prime Minister went on strike, herself. So for 4 days, none of the women worked. A third of the entire country, 0% of the female workforce went to work to prove how important women were. You know what happened? Tell me. Nothing. The roads still worked. The traffic lights still worked. There was still electricity. The police still turned up. Firemen.
The roads still work. You do realise roads aren't operated by men. Roads are something that you build and then they just stay put. So whether women work or not work, roads are still going to work. What, are you going to say, women aren't working, so now the roads are all crumbling? It's 4 days. If every human in the world died, roads will last for hundreds of years. They don't need operating. Traffic lights still worked. Well, traffic lights aren't run by men. Traffic lights are on some sort of system that, occasionally a bulb breaks, and I'm sure the bulbs were still being replaced, but a woman can change a light bulb. But yeah, electricity still worked. Okay, well, I guess you would need to have people in the pumping systems pumping out the electricity and gas, and well, the majority of people that choose to work in such a job like that are male. So that, if all the males in the electricity hub centres stopped working, then there probably might not be electricity. So electricity might be the only one that kind of makes sense, but it's like saying that if you banned a woman from a house, the bed will still work, the chair will still work, you can still sit on the sofa. So yeah, that proves that women are completely useless in the house because the bed worked, the chair worked, the doors were still opening and closing even though the woman wasn't in the house. I mean, what you're saying is as stupid as that. And okay, I know what you mean, that fire services would still operate, but that's because most of these jobs are run by men. So, You know, if it was the other way around, and 95% of the police officers and the firemen and the people who run electricity gas stations or whatever, you know, if they were all run by women and the women stopped, then of course there would be. But this has got nothing to do with sex. This is only to do with the jobs that these sex have been given. And I can understand why women don't want to work in places like this, because they're dangerous, and we're smarter than that to want to do dangerous jobs. But that does not mean that I'm discouraging women from being firefighters. But I just know that if someone passes out, if someone's in a fire and they pass out, and a woman needs to, you know, a fireman needs to lift that person up and take them out of the house. You know, if they're a male, they'll have a bigger body, they'll have more strength, so they'll be better as firemen. So certain jobs are designed for certain things, because men can lift up women, whereas women will struggle to lift up men. So for things like firefighters, it would probably not be a very good idea to have 95% being women, just because of the physical strength. But just because men have a better physical strength, that does not mean that they're smarter. It does not mean they're more capable of doing things. I guess they're a bit more capable, as it is in like lifting up stuff, but it's only the physical body. But just because a woman is a woman, that doesn't mean that she can't, because she can die, she can be reincarnated as a male, and she'll be able to have the same strength. So, you know, I get there's a little bit of reason why these jobs are mostly occupied by males, is because they have more strength. But to say that women are less important or less is totally wrong, because there are a ton of jobs that have nothing to do with physical strength. Being able to look after a child that cries for half an hour, or cries and just won't shut up, learning how to stop children from crying. You know, you need stamina, you need a lot of patience to be able to put up with guys like this who just want to insult you because you don't have physical strength. You know, to be a woman, you have to put up with a lot, and so mentally you become a lot stronger than men. And to think that he can use something like this as proof that women aren't necessary in society, that is totally bullshit. And that's all I need to say.